He opens his eyes, falls in love at first sight with the girl in the doorway. What beautiful lines, how full of life after thousands of years. What a face to wake up to. He holds back a sigh, she touches his arm, she dusts off the bed where till now he's been sleeping under miles of stone. The dried fig of his heart, under scarab and bone, starts back to its beating. She carries him home in a beautiful boat. He watches the sea from a porthole in stowage. He can hear all she says as she sits by his bed, and one day his lips answer her in her own language. The days quickly pass, he loves making her laugh. The first time he moves, it's her hair that he touches. She asks, are you cursed? He says, I think that I'm cured. Then he talks of the Nile and the girls in bulrushes. In New York he is laid in a glass-covered case. He pretends he is dead. People crowd round to see him, but each night she comes round and the two wander down the halls of the tomb that she calls a museum. Often he stops to rest, then less and less. Then it's her that looks tired, staying up asking questions. He learns how to read from the papers that she is writing about him, and he makes corrections. It's his face on her book. More and more come to look. Families from Iowa, Upper West Siders. Then one day it's too much. He decides to get up and as chaos ensues, he walks outside to find her. She's using a cane. Her face looks too pale, but she's happy to see him. As they walk, he supports her. She asks, are you cursed? But his answer's obscured in a sandstorm of flashbulbs and rowdy reporters.
I sat down to write and nothing came for months, and I thought, this is the end. I've run out of things to say that really, I was writing songs, but they weren't really songs. They weren't good. I was just casting around. I took guitar lessons, I took long walks and kicked rocks, and then went to museums. And one night I woke up in our apartment in Brooklyn, and the garbage trucks were going by. And I think the garbage trucks woke me up. I woke up with this idea of a mummy coming to New York and running amok in his romantic life, and that song was the first. I went into the bathroom and sat on the edge of the tub and wrote down the story, and then over the next week or so I wrote the song, and that sort of was the first song that got me going on writing the rest of them. So it's a really special song to me for that reason. I feel like I avoided terrible writer's block.
Hands start to fold, and one day the dried fig of her heart stops its beating. Long ago on the ship, she asked why pyramids. He said, think of them as an immense invitation. She asked, are you cursed? He said, I think that I'm cured. Then he kissed her and hoped that she'd forget that question. Lewis Collins took a trip out west, and when he returned, little Delia'd gone to rest. The angels laid her away. And Lewis said to Delia, oh, that's a sad thing with life. There's people always leaving just as other folks arrive. The angels hurry away. And when the people heard Delia was dead, all of them gentlemen they dread.